Start again.
All right.
Yeah. Right, start again.
Yeah, I'm going to paint a picture of my background first before coming on to my side, which is Colliers. So I'm born 56, and I'll just give you a bit on my family.
Yeah, go on.
One side's Salford, that's my mother's side. My granddad, he was like a Dunkirk veteran, you know, with his brother. He was a Salford docker. My gran, she works in the docks, but she works in like catering.
Okay.
So the work ethic with them, they always had 2 or 3 jobs. Like she works in the docks, serving food, you know, silver service to the gaffers.
Right.
She works at the White City in the restaurant there, and she works at the United Chipper. So she always had 3 jobs. And it's the same with my mum. She always had 3 jobs. She worked at school dinners, pubs, you know, things like that. And I was brought up with that work ethic.
Right.
You know, like to always have jobs, whether it was like delivering papers, cleaning pubs. She even got me a job, you know, 6-week holidays.
Yeah. When
you go for your free dinners.
Yeah.
Putting all the chairs up and all that, you know, and cashing on. So the Salford side of my family, I got that work ethic. The other side of my family's Irish. They truthfully, it's true this, that my great granddad, he was in the First World War. But when the war,
an Irishman.
Yeah. Now this is unusual, you see, because
exactly.
you had the Easter Uprising.
Yeah.
In 1916,
yeah.
But he was over in France because they had an Irish unit fighting for the Brits. Now that was all okay because, you know, they won the war, but once they won the war and he got back to, you know, Southern Ireland, Longford, County Armagh, I think it was. No, County Longford it is. But once he got back there, when the war finished, and it was every, you know, remembrance every year in Poppy Day. Where he lived, he got loads of stick.
No, it's just imagining.
Really did.
I bet he was
really
did.
Yeah. So he's ended up moving to Moss Side.
Right. Wow.
You know, to get the family out. But they moved to Moss Side, like 1939, because war was coming. And his son, which is my granddad, he was ready to join the army. So they didn't want him to join it over in Ireland, so that's why they come here.
Right.
But when they come here in Moss Side, they were a big family, about 8, 9 of them. The 2 up, 2 down was too small, so they split the family. So my dad, a couple of his brothers and his sisters, and his old fella Joseph Blaney, they come to Colliers, and the others stayed here. So I never got to know this side.
Right.
And what I got from my dad, what I picked up, he was in the RAF after the war, 1947, 48, 1950. But he was a boxer. In the army, he was like in charge of the boxing team. So he was in Singapore, Egypt, Hong Kong. He was all over the place.
Yeah.
Because he was a physical training instructor. So what I got from him was like I was always doing gymnastics, table tennis, basketball. Nobody played basketball in Colliers, but I've seen photographs of him playing basketball. So I went to a college and they let me, you know, play with them.
Yeah.
Moston Brook, even though I wasn't there. So what I got in my life is 2 ethics: work ethic from my mother's side, and sports and keeping busy. And I think that's where my writing creativity comes from my father's side.
Right, okay.
But growing up in the 50s and the 60s into the 70s, early 70s in Colliers, the truth is, as I say, massive area Colliers, 2 up, 2 downs, factories, mills, rubber works, bone works, it stinks, proper industry. And where my dad lived on the streets, it was Brass Street, Tin Street, Zinc Street. It was all to do with industrial.
Right.
So he's home on home leave. And my mother worked the pub, my granddad's pub, and that's where they met. And he says to her, I'm going to marry you. Oh. So, yeah, proper romantic in them days, it must have been. So he's gotten back to Hong Kong, and she went to Southampton and got a ship that took 6 weeks to Hong Kong and got married.
Wow.
Yeah. Can I just show the photo?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah. Let me just...
Okay. How's that?
Yeah, I'll put it on for you as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in that environment in Colliers, as I say, absolutely huge. There was no coloured families at all. There was no Africans, there was no Jamaicans, there was no Asians. But in Colliers flats, right in the centre of Colliers, that were built in the 30s, big retro flats, you know, with big arches and balconies and that.
Yeah.
In the flats, there was some families. Next to, most of them were Polish, Italian or Irish. But luckily enough, in Brogan Drive where we lived, there was 3 families. Hanifs, the Clerkins and a West Indian family. So we were lucky that we were the only ones to kind of mix. And later on in life,
Yeah.
I think that's why coming to Moss Side and going into Reno and the Nile and all that just become natural for us.
Yeah.
And the north side, as I say, when I left school, say 1970, went working on Smithfield Market for a couple of years. If we went out for a drink, you know, in town, it was usually the Picador.
Yeah.
And it was like through Lamarr on it. On the first floor, it was right up the stairs, really high building off Shudo. The first floor was like drag artists and all that, you know, all the camp gays and whatever. You know, it was quite good, entertaining, but right upstairs was the disco. And that's where we got into 1,000 Volts of Volt. You know, the full album they used to play.
I love the full album.
Yeah, the full album.
It's one of them albums, isn't it?
But after, we wouldn't go to Moss Side, we'd go to Cheetham Mill to Banjos.
Oh, yeah.
And that was like my first front line, that.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then, truthfully, you used to hear people say, why don't you go, if you enjoy it there, you'd love the Reno. But I just didn't know anyone from that side.
Yeah. No, it's the same for me. If you're in the south, you don't know the north.
Especially, as I say, because like the north only had a couple of families in Colliers.
Yeah.
And I mean, later on, I did get to Moss Side. And how I got to Moss Side, really, is via sale. I used to go work in Butlins holiday camps, you know, in the summer. Because you could get jobs anywhere.
Oh, okay.
And my own, when the market come down in 72, I thought, what should I do? I thought, well, I'll go sandblasting, my dad's company. And then, because it was my old fella's company, when it come to the summer, me and the lads would say, oh, we go to work Butlins. And he said, no problem, when it's finished the season, you got your job back. And when we went to Butlins, I'd go to France, you know, grape picking and apple picking and stuff. So in my head, I thought, oh, great, I can't wait to go living in France or, you know, working over there. But unfortunately, I got Barstow, you know, when I come back from France.
What did you get Barstow for?
Oh, the list is like that, Linda. Burglaries, tills, you know, hitting tills, taking the money out while you distract them. But you leave a lot of evidence. So when I come back from Barstow, I made a mistake. Instead of coming straight to Manchester, I went to the Butlins holiday camp to see if anyone was there. And the police had heard, oh, Blaney's back on the camp.
Right.
So the next day when I'm getting the train home, I just got arrested.
Right.
So I got Barstow.
I've got to ask you the question.
Yeah.
If you get your work ethic from one side, right, and you get your sport ethic from, where do you get your criminal ethic from? Yeah.
Colliers. Just growing up in Colliers. Right. Everyone was at it. You know?
Right.
But when I got Barstow, because I was down south, I went to Wormer Scrubs. And they're going to allocate me to a Barstow. But after about 6 weeks, they says, there's one bus going back up to Strangeways, you know, one last transport. If you want, you can get on it. I thought, yeah, you know, you're near their own, better for visits, you know what I mean? And that's when I thought, yeah, go on then. So it'd be early December, a couple of weeks before Christmas. We get the coach in the morning, went to Birmingham for dinner, picked a few more up, and it was coming into Manchester. That was, you know, the coach come down Princess Parkway.
Yeah. And
it was really slow, you know, because of the Christmas traffic.
Yeah. And
it was great to look out because it's like I've not been home for a year or two.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm coming home and you see all the shops with the Christmas trees and there's the Nile. Right. You know, a few guys, there's the Nile, you talk about the Nile. And there's the Reno. But what fascinated me, I was on the other side. I was looking at the Big Alex.
Right, yeah.
And in the doorway, all the dealing going on. You know, with it being busy and that. And I thought, I'd love to come down here, you know what I mean? Because I've been smoking weed in Europe as well, you know, in France. I thought, this is where I can get my weed. But how am I going to get to know people? Because I don't really know anyone.
Yeah.
Oh, there's one lad I knew. Oh, I'll talk about him later because I met him when I got in Strangeways. But that fascinated me, all that frontline activity, the taxi ranks, you know, I think there was a Blues on top of the taxi rank.
Yeah, no, it's right. You're right. You're right. The Western.
The Western, yeah. So all that area, all the talking, I thought, great. And when I got in Strangeways, I got padded up with Mark Collins.
Okay.
Big tall life gas. You know his brother Phil.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, and Paul.
And he was with Tete, another lad. I think Tete was West Indian. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
From Winningshaw, he was a pickpocket.
Right.
So them two were pad mates, and I got in their pad, 3 of us.
Okay.
And we were all going to Stoke Heath Barstow. So we'd done our Barstow together, and me and Mark says, well, when we get out, we'll hook up and that, which we did.
Yeah.
You know, I suppose that's how we got in the Reno a little bit.
So now you've got yeah.
But what happened there was, when I come out of Barstow, my mother had moved to the racecourse estate, not to get out of Colliers.
Oh,
well, Colliers had come down.
So now that takes us to Sale.
So from a Lowry landscape, you know, with black and white world of Colliers, now you're in the countryside.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful estate, really. But on that estate was it was an overspill.
Yeah.
But it was mainly human moss side.
Yeah.
So not having, like in Colliers, you only had a couple of families which were close to us, we got to know. Now all of a sudden on the racecourse estate, every avenue had African families or Jamaican families, So that's where I really got to know a lot of people.
Yeah.
Roger Palmer, remember him? Played for City and Errol.
Yeah.
Like chalk and Errol done 5 years for snatching £5,000 from the post office and armed robbery. And he played for Man City.
Yeah.
Roger.
Yeah.
I remember Roger getting nicked out of Reno, Him and Dave Bennett, he played for City as well.
They got nicked out of the Reno?
Yeah,
when they were footballers?
Yeah, they were footballers. They were down there, They used to go to Sounds and then they come with us to the Reno. But when they've come out, it was a time when there was a lot of stop and search going on.
Oh.
So they got through in the van. And when they got to the police station around the corner, they'd not thrown the gear up, like we'd empty the weed, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Plug it us. Being footballers, and they just froze the pair of them.
Yeah.
So they got found out with the weed, and the club sacked them the next week.
Never.
Yeah.
What year are we talking?
Mid-80s, because Bennett went to Coventry and won the FA Cup with them a couple of years later.
Yeah.
Roger Palmer went to Oldham and became Oldham's best ever goal scorer ever.
Right.
So Man City lost out on that.
Yeah.
But it was a scandal, weed and Reno and Moss Side.
I'm rubbish with sport, but the great bit of history there.
Yeah. But on the estate, as I say, so there was Palmer, there was the Rosses, they were round the corner from us. Alex, Vinny.
Yeah.
I remember the father, he used to sell yam potatoes in a big wagon. But he went back to Nigeria and took one of the sisters.
Right.
Forget which sister, but so we had the Rosses there. Stanford, he lived up on the estate. There's quite a few. Babes,
Yeah.
the cook, big Babes, Strachan. Got to know Tony, and she was working at the Nile, I think, as a cook. And then I met Beverly Hale.
Okay.
So that's when my life really changed, and I started going to Moss Side. Well, at first we didn't go to Reno. We went to the Russell. We used to go to Russell. Yeah, and then we'd go to, then I got going to the Reno.
With Beverly?
With Bev and Lincoln Powell.
Right.
Lincoln became a big source of income for us because he'd lived in London and he'd worked Brixton the front line, but he knew everyone in Moss Side. And when we got parcels of gold or jewellery, he was very safe, Lincoln, to leave it with, and he'd make a few quid.
Yeah.
But he could sell it, so Lincoln became quite a link for us for years.
Yeah.
I remember he introduced me to Basher. Don't even know.
Basher. Yeah, of course.
Speed and Cooler.
Yeah.
And Cooler was DJing then at Cloisters.
Right. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And after Cloisters, you could get the bus to Winningshaw that stopped right outside the Reno. Go in for an hour, because every hour they went.
Yeah, the night buses.
The night buses, yeah.
Yeah. So tell us about the first night you went down the Reno.
Truthfully, it was for the food.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I don't know if it's Kitty George or Chicken George, but the chef who was at the Russell was at the Reno, and his chicken was that good. That's what we went for.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we didn't get involved in the drinks. We just went for the food. So it was about 6 months later that I started going.
6 months after going into the Russell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
About 6 months later, I started going into the Reno, I'd love to say I got to know everyone in the Reno, but I got to know all them through Lincoln in my side. You know, like 14. Remember 14?
Oh yeah, of course I do.
He died a couple of years ago. God bless him. But all the characters like Fonzo and people like that who I got to know in the Reno, I got to know them all in Alvino's or in little places where you score a weed and play pool.
Right.
Backstreet places where I'd be with Lincoln, you know, selling jewellery and getting to know people.
Okay.
Tall boy.
Tall boy.
Yeah.
Tall boy.
You used to have the cashmere.
Yeah.
The cashmere top on, didn't he?
Yeah.
The light brown one.
Yeah.
He'd look good in a pimper's paradise in America, wouldn't he? I seen him at the Moss Side Carnival a couple of years ago.
So is he still alive then as well?
Well, it was about 4 years ago.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know.
I've not seen him for a long time.
And what I thought about the Reno, because I was going for so the first time I went was about 77, 78. But when we got into the 80s, that's when I was going regular.
Yeah.
But it was like an institution, wasn't it, for us?
Yeah, go on, tell me what you mean.
Because whether you was in Leeds or Liverpool at night time, as soon as it got to like 1, 2 o'clock, it just kicked in that you had to be at the Reno, no matter where you was, you know what I mean? So it's like, we called it the magnet. Yeah. It just brought you in.
Yeah. Go on.
But for me, it was a very fashionable place. I've been to one place in London that was like it. Have you ever heard of Ronnie Scott's, the jazz club?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Right on top of it, it's like there, Reno.
Oh, okay. No, I've never been in upstairs. I've been in Ronnie Scott's.
Well, if you go upstairs, it's just like the Reno. It's not as big, but it's very, very flashy and, you know, good fashions in there. And I love following fashion.
Yeah.
So when I got to the Reno, I thought about that place in London. I thought this is just as good, if not even better. You know, because it had the gambling room, it had the people you knew, nice food and stuff like that, pirate taxis outside. So I thought, this is as fashionable, this place, as cool, should we say, as that one in London.
Oh, okay, the Reno was as fashionable as this one that you used to.
And that's what kicks in with me, because I've been to that one in London.
Yeah.
And I thought, that's unbelievable. And when I got to know the Reno and like, looking at them dancing and stuff like that and all the fashion, that's when I thought, you know what, it's a brilliant place. I mean, it got a bit naughty in the end, didn't it, just before it all went downhill. But for me, I never had any beef in there. Oh, I had beef once, what Fonzo talks about that night. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And that's towards the end, you know, when things were going downhill. Yeah. Because actually that night, I'd been with Spud from Salford. I'd been to, I think we'd been to see UB40 at the Apollo. And we had a load of trips. We weren't drug sellers, but people used to ask us sometimes, and you're like, oh, well, I'll get 50 quid out of it, so I'll take them. Yeah, I've got these. And when we got to the Apollo, the kid wasn't there. So we had all this acid on us. Yeah. And like an idiot, I never really took acid much. Yeah. But I had a trip that night, and it absolutely blew me out. And I can't remember how I ended up in the Reno. But I remember being downstairs with Spud still, and it was pretty empty that night, which is unusual. Or it might have been early. Yeah. Might have been early. But we'd had some food, the trip was doing our heads in. And I said, I'm ready to go, mate. I got up and I went into the toilet. I remember the toilet was to the right. I can't remember it being a shit house there, you know, to sit on. I think it was just a couple of things, but there was a sink there. Yeah. And because I'm tripping, all these sounds are going on in my head. And then I just heard someone behind me say, right, it's time he gets it or something like that. And there was a guy there who's told the young one, and the worst thing is I'm like that, you know, when you turn around. And he smashed the bottle and was just coming at me. Oh, wow. And that's when Fonzo Jr. and Henry burst in. Because they knew that, they must have sensed something was wrong. They'd been in there too long. Yeah. And he saved me fucking life that night. Yeah. You know, the bottle was coming at me. I still had my hand there, and I'd not even got my hand to go up. Wow. Plus, even if... tripping. And I'm tripping out. Even if I get his hand to stop it, the other kid's there as well, blocking the doorway. But like I say, fucking Fonzo burst in with the lads and saved me bacon.
When was this, the middle 80s?
No, I'll tell you the truth. Me and Bev moved to Rotterdam, Holland, 85. So this was about 86. Right. Because I think it was near the end. I think, you know, when Cheetah Mill and Moss Side started going war with each other, it was around that time. Because to tell you the truth, Linda, Fonzo don't know this or anyone. When I got out that night, anyway, got in the car, dropped Spud off in Stretford, drove to the racecourse estate, and as I got on the estate, there was a car behind me flashing. And I looked and I thought it was Lincoln with the lads. Because if you ever wanted a late night drink on the estate, you always go out to Lincoln's, you know, till 6, 7 in the morning, smoke a weed, watch films. And I thought it was Lincoln, and I pulled over and I bounced over, you know, all right, Lincoln. And I've been told that they thought I was packing or something because of the confidence. Remember, I'm still tripping.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember going to hit his bonnet, to, all right, Lincoln, where are we going? And the car reversed and got off. And I thought, shit, I think I'm in trouble here again.
Right.
He'd followed me.
Oh, never.
No. Got in the car, and instead of going down the main road to get in the avenue where my old lady lived, I went down the paths. I used to do window cleaning there sometimes.
Yeah.
And I knew the little jibs through, you know. But just as I was parking the car, I heard the car screeching. So it was coming from me, you know, a different way.
Yeah, wow.
I managed to jump over a fence, got in some bushes, the car pulled up. 2 of them got out and come running up and down, you know, with the bats, whilst the others smashed my car up.
Fucking
yeah,
hell,
they got back in the car and fucked off. I'm fucking on the trip, you know, because
No, that's all I'm thinking is that you still trip. Did you?
I've never took an acid since
I was
that.
going to say, have you ever took acid since?
No. Well, I wasn't an acid taker. As I say, I was just doing a little deal at the Apollo. I mean, I tried it in Butlins back in the early 70s and it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
It definitely wasn't for me that night. Yeah.
After that.
So, and that's, I suppose, about 6 months, a year later, I think that's when it burnt out, the Reno. Not burnt out, I mean it finished.
Yeah, it finished, yeah. I've heard it's 86 and 88. Yeah. Do you know what I'm really interested in about you? How did you start writing?
Prison.
Okay.
Without a doubt. When my dad came to see me in Barstow, slips a pound note under the table, nice one. And he says, listen, don't worry about not writing. You know, because once a week you get a letter that you can write, but it's 4 pages. And it was daunting trying to think, how can I fill that up? Yeah. So I used to cut it in half and just put a little bit on. But even that got to me. And he says, listen, he says, all you got to do to let people know that, you know, you're thinking about them, he says, just write postcards.
Oh, okay.
So I used to make my own postcards, and I found that I started writing quite a lot more, so my postcards got bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
But the great thing was, right, when I sent postcards out, the response I got back was great. So every other day I'd have a pile of letters or postcards back from people in France and Portugal who was great picking with them.
Oh, okay, right.
And in Boston, that's exciting.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So that's how I started my writing. But I believe, my mum says I got it off her a bit because she's a writer.
Oh, okay.
She writes for magazines and...
Does she?
Yeah, schools. And my brother, he's wrote a book as well, you see.
Right.
So
how did you first get published then?
There was a book all about Gooch and Pepperell going to war with each other called... what's it called? Gang War.
Okay.
Kid on the front with a gun like that.
Yeah.
Inside story of Manchester's, you know, gangs, the Gooch, Pepperell and Pitbull and all that. And it's written by Peter Walsh, Milo. And I just learned how to email. I just got my first email address. You know
what year are we talking?
This is...
2000.
Yeah.
Go on.
Around 2000, yeah, because the book's been out nearly 13 years now. Yeah, it's around 2000. So I got my first email. I thought, well, who can I email? And I've just read that book. I thought, I'll email in Peter Walsh and I'll say, listen, I really enjoyed your book. I thought it'd give a true account of what went on.
Yeah.
And I said, I've been writing myself for a few years. Would you be interested in, you know, my pages or looking at them? The next day I got an email back, says, I'd love to meet you. I met him in the Midland Hotel.
Okay.
And he read the pages, and a week later he gave me a deal.
Fucking hell, man.
Yeah, so just an email changed my life, didn't it, you know?
Wow.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, man.
I've never stopped writing since.
Wow.
I write a page every day, maybe.
Do you?
Yeah.
Do you?
I write a page every day, and at the end of the year, you got 300 pages, so that's a book every year.
Yeah.
So...
You've got great reviews on Grafters.
Oh, yeah, and on Desirables.
Yeah.
I've got Manchester Mavericks coming out soon, and Mark's book, my brother's book, it was going to be called Jibbers, But the publisher says no. He says, because your book, because my book's been republished 3 times.
Wow, cool.
Yeah, and it's getting another run soon. He says, because your book's still out and it's still selling, and your brothers, you both Blaney, I want to keep it as Grafters, his book.
Oh,
so it's a brand. I know what he's doing. He's sending it to the film companies then.
Oh, go on, lad. Wow.
So they've asked me to write. I've got a deal off Channel 4, not Channel 4, Film Wales. But all they're going to do, they give me a deal. The publishers signed it, they've signed it, I've not signed it.
Why is that?
I better off writing my own scripts, because all they do is borrow 100 grand off the bank to get all these writers in, and they torture you, and then they go to Channel 4. Well, I've already worked for Channel 4, so I can go to Channel 4 myself. Film 4 is Channel 4.
Yeah.
So all they're doing is just taking money off you. And they offer you a percentage, which is no good. So once I've finished my last book, I'm on my last chapter now. I won't mind you coming in it if you don't mind.
What do you mean coming in it?
In the book Manchester Mavericks, it's Mancunian people giving the stories all about Manchester, about your favourite clubs, pubs, back in the day. So if I give you a questionnaire, maybe you might like to answer it.
I'll answer it for you.
Right.
No
So when I finish that book, I'm writing the film scripts with my brother for Grafters.
Right.
We've already got the idea, so we'll spend 6 months on it.
Go on.
Yeah,
wow.
yeah.
So go on. Now, just for people out there who want to do these things, right? Because everybody thinks people like us can't do shit.
Well, Stan Finney's doing a book, innit?
Yeah.
Fonzo should do one.
Yeah. So what do you do? Tell me your process. How do you just write a page a day?
Yeah.
What time of day? Is it a set time?
I know people like to write early in the morning, I believe.
Right.
Yeah. But I'm not. I'm like afternoon, and then I go home, I have my tea, and then I go out and I go to the Curry Mile and get on the internet cafe there. I can't write in my house, by the way.
Why is that?
I don't get creative.
Right.
No, I've got to be in a library. Libraries are my favourite places, if not the internet cafe. So I make sure that I get a page done every day, as I say. And that's 300 pages at the end of the year.
And who edits it for you?
Oh, I get students.
Do you?
Yeah, all you do is you can go to Oxford Road and there's certain rooms where all the students are in and they put their slips of paper with they want a bit of cash in hand work,
yeah.
You know what to do. So I go in that same room where all these students are putting papers up and I'll put Grafters, Colin Blaney, author of Grafters, Undesirables, looking for an editor. And usually that week I'll get 5 or 6 ring me up. I'll go and interview them and I'll pick one.
Cool. Bloody hell, you're a proper industry.
Yeah, paying cash, paying in books, t-shirts.
Yeah.
Any nice clothes come, you can do clothes, you know what I mean? And then when you move on to your next one, you get another student, because usually that student, he's got his name in your book,
yeah,
which is great for his CV.
Yeah.
He's got a bit of money, and he's moving on, because after a year, the students usually got to do other things.
Yeah.
So it's usually one student for one book and another student for the next book.
Why don't you choose the same person all the time?
Because it's them, they move on.
Yeah.
Once they finish your book and they've got their name in your book in the acknowledgements, then they can go on for bigger things then.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so who published it? How did you... So David Walsh is the publisher.
Oh, Peter Walsh, who wrote that book.
Yeah.
It's his company.
Oh,
he's a writer. He was a crime writer for what was it for now? Oh, the Press Switch Journal or something. He started off as a crime writer, but moved up the ladder.
Right.
And
so he's got his own company.
So he wrote his own book and he's got his own company, which is called Milo. Yeah. Wow. But there's another one here anyone can use. It's called Empire. They've got their own shop in Newton Street, selling records downstairs and books and all other things. But they've got a big, not a big warehouse, they've got a big office near the cricket ground. You can look them up on Google.
So Colin, how did you know what makes a chapter, what makes a scene? How did you know any of that? Because you've not had any training, have you?
I'd run it over with my mum, truthfully. I say, "Yeah, Mum, what do you think of that?" And she say, "Oh, take that out, put this in." And yeah, my mum had kind of helped me on that. And I'll give you one example. I wrote about when we was kids, go to the fairground, you know, with when Myra Rinley was there.
Oh, okay.
So we was all there when she'd come past us. She had a black wig on, and she had Christmas boxes because it was Boxing Day.
Yeah.
They were all empty.
Wow.
Ian Brady was round the corner in the car waiting with ethyl nitrate on the rack.
Right.
So she dropped the box, and whoever picked that box up, which was Leslie Ann out of Uslop, can you help me with the... Can you help me round the corner? So she just travelled off with it. But then, Peter Walsh, my writer, he put all the descriptions of what happened. And when I run it by my mum, she went, Col, cut that out and end the chapter there. Just saying she was never to be seen again. So I think my mum helped me on all the chapters, you know, things like that.
Right, yeah.
So we didn't give the graphic gory details out, you know, about what happened, because...
So he put in details and your mum took them back out?
Yeah.
Right.
You've got the final say. Even if they add things, they like to add things and they like you to keep it in, but you've got the final say.
How do you have the courage to do that? Because do you know what I'm saying to you? You look surprised.
To do what?
To just say, no, I'm not having that in.
Oh, because it come off my mum.
Oh.
You know, if I say Peter, my old lady, you know, it's just like, okay, Col, because he knew she was a writer.
Okay.
And so chapters usually, and it's the same with Mark. Mark runs it by me, mum, and she usually says, right, that's your chapter there. But once you get used to doing a couple of chapters, you kind of know 6 pages should do for this chapter, 10 at the most, and you kind of know where to end it.
How do you know your overall picture?
Write too much, that's what I do. So my books, which are always around 300 to 350 pages, I usually write about 800 pages.
Do you?
Yeah. And I let them slice it. But what happens is, keep them pages and they get used in magazines when you get interviewed. So you don't lose them pages that don't go in the book.
Right.
So I've got piles and piles of pages, and when I get interviewed for, you know, things like this, I'll go into the pages and bring them out for magazines and, you know, newspapers as well.
So going back to the Reno, do you write about the Reno in Grafters?
Yeah, I wrote about being on the coach, you know, in Ankles bars. I wrote about it then, and then I wrote about famous people who used to go in there as well.
Go on, talk about it.
Oh, the list is endless, isn't it, really? Do you reckon Muhammad Ali went in there?
I've met someone who met him.
And I asked Lincoln that, and he went, oh, I don't know about that.
I've met someone who's met him now. Yeah, Leroy, Carmen and Leroy.
Is it true then?
Yeah, it's true.
It is true, yeah.
And he came back and told his wife at the time.
Brilliant.
Yeah, so
right, I can tell Lincoln when I got London.
Don't tell him it's true, because I kept thinking, is it just, you know, a myth?
Yeah. Tony Wilson used to go in a lot, didn't he?
Yeah.
I said who he used to be with a lot, and he put him on the map, really. I know he gets recognised as Mr. Manchester for, you know, New Happy Mondays and New Order and all that. Kid Creole.
All right.
Kid Creole had concerts at the Apollo, and it was Tony Wilson who got him there, and he'd done a Granada studio thing with him, and he got Kid Creole right on the map.
Yeah. He was quite something at the time, wasn't he? Different.
He was quite funky, wasn't he, Kid Creole?
Unusual at the time.
But he didn't bring the coconuts into Reno. You know? He's married to one of them, wasn't he?
Is he?
And it was an open secret that when they were on the road, they had an open relationship. So when he was in the Reno, where's the coconuts? Because he's married to one, you know, might be able to pull her.
Yeah. Where's the coconut?
A lot of football. Alex Higgins used to go a lot.
Yeah. Everybody mentions him. Tell me a great story that happened to you in the Reno.
There's so many, isn't there? Because I think Herbie Hancock, Lincoln got Herbie Hancock down there after the concert. You know, with his entourage.
Yeah.
That was. I'd say who else was in there? Because Rufy served him up, funny enough. Mays, Frankie Beverley.
Really?
Yeah, Joy and Pain, remember it?
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So
After the Apollo.
I've not heard this before.
Yeah, so after the Apollo, all in the Reno, and there was some girls we used to know from Ankles, half-caste girls, Sheila, Lorna. Their sister was married to one of them, one of the roadies.
Oh, okay.
So I think that's what got us introduced to him. That's why Frankie Beverley come to the Reno.
Wow.
So when you're all in the corner and you got the champagne and everything flowing,
go on,
that was a fantastic night.
Yeah.
But quite a lot of nights like that, you know, they go on till 6, 7 in the morning, don't they?
Yeah. I remember the champagne starting. Yeah, you know, when it went from like when we used to drink special brews
well,
and
that
now
club
it's
in
champagne.
London, I remember that in London, you know, the one that was Ronnie Scott's upstairs, that had a corner with all the pimps and the women, which was all champagne corner.
Yeah. Yeah, because when we first used to go in, it was special brews and barley wine. Yeah.
Well, as I said, when I first went in, it was I think it was cans. Oh no, I think I get mixed up with the gallery because they had gross, you know, them bottles.
Oh yeah, gross.
Gross,
yeah. Yeah, that was definitely a gallery.
That was a gallery, that.
Yeah.
Ruthie was a DJ there for about 5 years.
Yeah,
a Persian DJ there one night.
They did.
It was a special event. I don't know what it was.
Was it a party? A fancy dress party?
Oh, it was a big night in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, like Colliers and all that. They used to come round to Ruthie's house because we used to live in before, when I split up with Bev about 87, been with her since Barstow, that was 77. I come living back in Manchester. Ruthie had split up with Trudy, I think. Spud had split up with Bev's sister, Jackie.
Oh, I know which Spud you mean now. Go on.
Little Spud, yeah. Blonde hair Spud, yeah. But we all went living at Ruthie's. They called it the Home for Battered Husbands. yeah. But in that not Stamford Street, Albion Street.
Yeah.
We used to go and eat in Stamford Street, you know, the West Indian food place there. But that house became like a magnet for everyone, you know, in Moss Side to chill out and weed and where you go. And that's where I really got to know Colliers and all that, you know, Melvin and all that.
Yeah.
And then going back into Reno, you kind of knew him because you'd been socialising with him. Yeah. And that's what I say. I never really got to know people in the Reno, mate. I got to know him outside in Moss Side, and then when you went in the Reno, you was familiar with him.
I think that's probably the same for all of us. In truth, you know, that we was friends outside of the Reno, and then when you get in the Reno,
when you got in there,
and then you have your little cliques, don't you? But we all know each other to say hello.
Yeah. And the dancing was unique, wasn't it? Some of the dancing in there was fantastic.
Like what?
Like Essa, remember Essa, Gary?
Oh, yeah.
He's Portuguese, you know.
Is he?
Yeah, he's part Portuguese.
Right.
But his dancing was unbelievable. Because I used to go in rafters and watch Coco doing the jazz and funk moves.
Yeah.
But when Essie come in, he burnt everyone off. He died tragically, Essie, didn't he?
Yeah. How was that again?
He was smoking the cocaine.
That was it.
In Holland. Yeah. He'd done jail, hadn't he, in Holland? And when he come out, he got into the coke and all his lungs giving on him. Yeah. I remember remember Mike Emerson?
Yeah.
Emma was over there at that time. And Scout Steve.
Yeah.
Emma's mate, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he's done one. Kelly.
Oh, he has, yeah. Oh, that's I've seen Stanford, his Fonzo's and Colliers the other day. Oh, and I started watching Robert Taylor's. Yeah. I remember Robert used to knock around with Barney Hamilton from the QS. What an handful them two were. I seen him at Old Trafford a couple of years ago.
You've done some cool exploits yourself though, haven't you?
Yeah. I mean, I've still got a few in the pipeline, hopefully. I had a bad turn last year when Coco killed himself. Okay. Oh, God bless him, yeah. He had depression for a couple of years. I've got back pain, mate. Sciatica and slip disc. Yeah. But I've been to pain clinics on the NHS to manage it, about how you get your sleep in and how you got to walk, and you got to change your life to cope with the pain. And for months and months I was saying to Coco, you know, because he's got a few quid, self-made millionaire, I said, you go into private places and they're no good for you. I said, you're getting advice off him and advice, you know, and I said, you need to go to a proper pain management course place. But he never did. And sadly enough, just before last Christmas, he always used to come at mine at Christmas and give me clothes. He loved his clothes, Coco. Yeah. He used to go to Italy, you know, twice a year to Milan.
I don't know him, I can't picture.
Well, he didn't go into Reno.
Oh, okay.
No, he didn't smoke weed. He wasn't really a drinker, Coco. But he lived with me in Bev, you see. Right. But so what's happened is he had a replica cup, a European cup, and at Old Trafford they used to use it, you know, inside. The Man United had let him take it in there, and they'd do it. Japanese would have photographs took with it. It was his pride and joy. But every Christmas he used to come round and give me clothes, and maybe £500 or £1,000, and box of chocolates for your mother, always. But the last one, he rang me up. He says, "Come down, you know, Christmas." I went down. I thought that's unusual because he normally comes into my flat, you know. He's in his Range Rover, window goes down and he passes me the European Cup. It's his pride and joy. He spent 2-3 grand getting it done. It took him a year to find somebody who'd do it.
Yeah.
And he gave it me. I said, what are you giving me that for? He said, I won't need it.
Wow.
Oh, 3 weeks later, he killed himself. Jumped off Barton Bridge. The next day, Bev's come up from Somerset, because we still get on, me and Bev, for the, to see Anne-Marie's, his missus, and find out what happened. Bev's come up, not seen Bev for 20 years.
Wow.
No,
that quite some meat.
Oh, it's great. She was fantastic with me, you know what I mean? Because she was like his surrogate mother.
Right.
Because he come living with us in Emperor's Court when he was 16. So I went up to Winningshaw, Gatley, spoke to his missus, told us all the details. Bev dropped me off. She says, are you all right? I said, yeah, I'm all right. She says, are you sure? I said, yeah, I'm just, need a bit of peace. And went and had an heart attack, didn't I? I was that for brother to love.
Fuck
yeah.
Wow.
I was like rolling over. But I thought it was heartburn because it was on this side.
Yeah.
But when you have a heart attack, it shoots across. It goes in your back or your neck. So I didn't know that. So because the pain's there, I got a hot water bottle, put it there, I'm struggling for hours and hours. That's when I rang Bev and said, I think I've had an heart attack. I said, get the ambulance. Which he had. But I feel great now because I've had the stem put in. And after a year, you come off tablets. And once you come off the tablets, all the side effects stop. So
what side effects?
Oh, your male hormones go all over the place. Your breathing's completely different. You're on morphine, which is rat poison.
Ah.
You bruise really easy.
Yeah, to thin your blood.
Yeah. But after a year, once you've done your year, your blood goes thicker because they stop it. So at the moment, I feel great, I feel upbeat. That's why I'm writing a lot more now, more creative.
I think your writing's astonishing, man. I think it's absolutely
I think my brother's is even better than mine.
Yeah.
It's more funny. But I'm the butt of all the jokes. Not the jokes, all his comedy stuff. It's like fucking kids there again.
Yeah. Tell us the last time you went in the Reno.
That was the last time. When I got followed home.
Oh, right. Well, no wonder.
Yeah, because then I knew, because obviously other lads were getting attacked, having to jump out of windows, getting done in, guns pulled out.
Yeah.
I thought, God, I need to get back over to Holland.
Yeah.
I'm not up for all this. And maybe because I was on acid that night, I got attacked.
Yeah.
It freaked me out.
No, can you imagine? It'd freak anybody out, though.
So sadly, that was my last night in there.
No, I don't think I'd have been going back after that.
But you knew things were changing, because and then ecstasy come on the scene, and the kitchen kicked in, and all the E-blues, the one in Gooch.
Yeah.
And by the time you got into the 90s, it all went naughty, didn't it?
Absolutely. So when's your book set then?
Say again, Linda.
When's your book set? What era is that set in?
Oh, so I started. When you read my book, the first 3 or 4 pages, it's how my mum met my dad, and all that. It's my mother who wrote that.
Right.
I was in hospital at the time in Germany. She'd come over to see me, and she says, all them questions you keep mithering me about this and that and Hong Kong. She went, there. She says, you just carry on. So the first 3 pages, it's my mother writing that. But it sounds like it's me, but it isn't.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
What a gift.
Yeah, but what a fortunate person I am. But my mother's always been known as a patron saint to all prisoners. She writes to prisoners all over the world. I've met guys in Holland, your mother, very good. Guys on death row get letters off her in America, ones who have escaped.
How does she get to know her?
Well, mostly it's through, the racecourse estate. A lot of lads got lots, it's ended up a rough estate. It's all right now, it's been cleaned up.
Yeah.
But loads of them were getting jailed, in France for this or that. And so she used to start writing to them. But sometimes they'd let her know that, a mate of mine's doing 5.
Okay.
So she used to write to her from Moss Side, who was doing 100 years in Thailand.
I don't know.
The African guy in Manchester.
I've no idea.
Oh, right. What he'd done, this African guy, he was done it all over the world. The FBI got him in the end. She was on television. The woman from Moss Side. He'd pull them in clubs and he'd wine dine them, and he'd say, we'll go on holiday, but we might be bringing a bit of weed back.
Oh.
And they'd go with it thinking it was weed.
Yeah.
And he'd say, right, I'll go and get the weed and I'll put it in this plastic thing. But it wasn't, it was always smack.
Oh.
Yeah, so there's women all over the world who'd been So she went witness. She'd done 10 years. She got life with 100 years recommendation.
Wow.
But after 10 years, she kind of went on. She went to America to give evidence with a few other girls because they'd nicked him, the African, and they all got pardons then because they knew that they'd been enticed.
Yeah.
And so my mother kept her going with letters all the time. She used to send her books as well, via the ship.
Is your mum still alive?
Yeah, she just survived an heart attack. She had an heart attack straight after me.
Bloody hell.
Yeah. But hers was worse. She's got a triple bypass.
Wow.
And her heart was strong enough for the operation. They reckon she'll make it to her 90s easy now.
Wow.
Yeah, and she's still writing. She's still clear as a bell. You can't pull the wool over her eyes. If you try and tell her a porcupine. Right, king.
Is your dad still alive?
No, he died about 4 or 5 years ago. Luckily enough, he'd just been in Ireland on holiday, and I was just talking to him and all that, so I managed to get quite a good conversation with him. And then when he was coming back, he had an heart attack, and when he come back here, instead of going to the hospital and getting treatment, he just wanted to stay at home and see it out.
Right.
He lasted about 6 months, but I believe he really withered. So I was glad I had the conversation with him, before he passed. But yeah, my mother's she's 84, 85. And as I say, she's recovered from the operation. She went to Reno a few times. Sylvia, same man. Sylvia, same as Fonzo.
What was she doing?
Food.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I felt like I was in a cage. You're in a cage. She stayed in that cage. She didn't come in to do that. But we give her a few drinks, Lincoln and that. But she loved the food in there.
Did she?
Yeah. So what I'll have to do is I'll have to post you a book window. I'll sign it because I want you to look at the photos. But I'll put a questionnaire in for you.
No problem.
And if you could answer that and give me a photograph of yourself when back in the day and present, and it'll go in Manchester Mavericks.
No problem.
I'm going to ask Fonzo as well if he'll come in it.
Yeah.
Have you got his address?
I haven't, but I've got his phone number.
All right. So should we wrap up?
We'll wrap up.
Fonzo, I'll be seeing you soon.
Thanks, Colin.
Yeah, lovely.